Evening all, welcome to Sports Unplugged. It's me and Kev again. How you doing, Kev?
I'm good, man. Not too bad. Are you?
Still loving the life in England, all good
Yeah.
fun.
First week of
So,
the transfer window down, and we haven't signed anyone. Have you cracked up yet?
no. Apparently, I should be losing my shit and being really angry, and because I'm not,
Yeah.
people are getting more angry with me now because I'm not losing my shit over it.
Well, I managed tonight. I didn't watch the FA Cup game, so I had a quick look at the stats before I come on. Seen Man City had something like 72% possession or something stupid like that. But for the first time in ages, I turned off Sky Sports News about 6 o'clock. I just saw it. I just chucked the film on. I'm so sick to death of
Bored of it.
reading football and seeing football and everything to do with football. It was wrecking my head.
Could you be not a football podcast, isn't it?
I know it. Yeah, it's mad, but it's like all day long. It's just been Coutinho this and Origi that. And
The annoying thing with the Coutinho thing is, in man, yours head, we were like, it's never happening because there's excuse me, as good as he was for us, you're like, he hasn't played much game time in 3 years. He's had 2 or 3 knee ops and a few hamstring injuries. There's all red flags there that were going. People complain about our lack of durability in the squad. You want to bring another lad in who is very talented, but he's not very durable at the moment.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. It's good. Villa's a good move for him because he'll play every week. Probably get him his confidence back, which might get him either a move to a bigger club in the summer, or he guarantees himself a contract at Villa. And Villa, to be honest, it does wonders for them because it's a high profile signing for them.
Prestige player, isn't he?
Prestige player shows the manager's being back, so it's good for the manager. The manager knows him, so probably gives him the arm around the shoulder, which is probably what he needs. So
no, it's really good. I mean, look, I hope he does well. I genuinely do. I hope he does well. I think
apart from against us, I hope he's shit.
Yeah, but look, the odds of him being fit to play us are, toss a coin up at the minute. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's 2 major things going on. Got the FA Cup third round, and the FA decided no matter what happens, these games are being played by hell or high water, COVID or no COVID. Doesn't matter if you have to play the under-12s. These games are being played.
If that's the case, that's fine. I want to hear no bullshit from any pundit ever again that says, don't disrespect the FA Cup, play your stronger side. Because the FA have just said, get the game played, we don't care who you play. So they've set the precedent now, which is, as long as the game gets played, we don't care. That's fine. And if that's the rule, that's the rule.
And
there's
an awful lot of games on TV as well. I mean, look, tonight...
Apart from us.
Yeah, we're on telly over here.
Not in England.
The Premier Sports, we're on Premier Sports over here, so that's not too bad. But look, Swindon, Man City tonight. I assume, it was 3-0 last time I checked.
4-1. I've just checked. It's 4-1.
4-1.
Look, if you're expecting an upset there, and City will get City take it seriously because they went strong. They were very strong. They played the 11 first teams they had. They had 11
one
first.
kid, I think.
Palmer, sorry. They played 10 first teamers, and then the other lad on the bench and then they had Laporte on the bench. But they played. Apart from the striker, that's a strike. That's an attack. That's a City 11 you'd see all the time.
Yeah,
look,
I'm just looking through the TV games here, right? And there's some potential banana skins here. Millwall Palace, anything could happen there. Palace have got a lot of the likes of Wilf Zaha and a few others away at AFCON. They're away to Millwall. It's a London derby. Anything could happen there. Chelsea, Chesterfield, don't expect anything. Hull, Everton.
That'd be a good game,
that could be a tasty one. That's BBC 5:30.
Because Everton are low on confidence. Hull are doing okay. The fancy. I would still think Everton will go through. I just don't think it'd be straightforward. Yeah. So, I mean, Christ, if they get knocked out there,
but this is it. See,
Rafa's almost done. Then there is.
Yeah. Yeovil and Bournemouth. It's a localish derby. Bournemouth away. Yeovil years ago when Yeovil had Gary Johnson was there in his first spell. They were a happy hunting ground for nobody liked going there, and Gary Johnson had I'm pretty sure he'd had the Latvia job, and he come back to England, took on Yeovil, and Yeovil had a pretty newish stadium, but it was a stadium that was above where it should have where were at the time. I think they were in the conference, and what they were doing was robbing Bristol City and Rovers of the players that they couldn't get games, and Gary Johnson was bringing these kids on and selling them on for profit, and they had a fair few scalps in their day, but Bournemouth shouldn't have any problems there. Even Laura,
I mean, good to see Laura in the chat. I haven't seen Laura for a little while.
Actually, it was great to see you back in there, Laura.
Yeah, and as she says, they might have found their level in Hull, possibly.
I tell you what, they need this, don't they?
They need something because it's if you know. So we're not having a podcast, but it can't be happy in a blue. You know, look, you lower.
Well, you've got a lot of friends who are.
No, they hate it. The ones that said football's boring. You know, some of them will never accept the manager because he's ex-Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, you've got players like Luca Dean who, depending who you believe, doesn't want to play for Rafa, so he's having hissy fits. And
according to
if you try hissy fits with Rafa, we've had Rafa. You try hissy fit with Rafa, he just doesn't pick you. He doesn't give a shit who you are. He'll just won't pick you. I think he's just realised that now. That shit, I'm not being picked. And the only club going for it at the moment is Newcastle, while rich, but it's still a bottom three side that's going for you. So that may be a bit.
I don't know if they are.
Well, they bid 22 million and offered Longstaff is the route. It was
that was the rumor, but they've come out today and said that they've had no official bids at all for him.
Wow.
You know, the gossip was Chelsea and Newcastle, and who knows what the story is, whether it's just a polite inquiry or is he available type thing, but they've had no offers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of made it known that he wants out, which is fair enough. Look, he's a decent fullback. With Chelsea trying to get Emerson Palmieri back from France, I think he's at Lyon. Whether he'll want to come back is another matter.
But that's what I think. If he comes back, he knows he'll play because I don't think he's overly sold on Alonso.
No, but it's more Alonso cover now than anything else. If he gets Digne, he'll play. Digne will play. Digne would actually be a good signing for them.
It suits him better because it allows him to be more attacking and less on his defensive side. Which he can't, not that he can't defend, but he's just better going forward. You know, so that would play to his strength. That's what plays to reshape his strengths. That's why he looks so good as a right wing back because it plays to his strengths.
Yeah,
I think if Liverpool played 3-4-3, it'd be great for someone like a Trent. But I mean, he practically plays like that anyway. So
he does, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if we were playing a back three, you could play a Nico Williams as a wing back, and you could play Trent in midfield. I'm convinced you could.
Probably could.
You know, Klopp is totally adamant he's against it, and it's purely historical because of the back three system in Germany when Klopp would have been young and impressionable was a sweeper. You know, your two centre backs and a sweeper and two full backs. And it was back in the day when you could pass back to the keeper and what have you. And it's purely a negative tactic. But when it's done right, it's a 3-4-3 is probably the most aggressive attacking system you can play, you can watch. It's the most entertaining. Even Barcelona, when they were at their pomp, played a version of it, and they were phenomenal to watch. You know, but you have to have the right players to do it. It's very, very unusual.
Got Coppish in the chat here as well.
Kloppish.
Close. Coppish. That's close enough.
I mean, is there anyone in the chat who's looking at the third round draw and thinking there's a tasty game? You know, or there's always one. There's definitely always one that
I think it's ours. Back. I think it's ours, you know. Only because I've got a clue who's playing for us. It could be doing the tens playing. Generally could.
Yeah.
Now, the rumour on social media, and like I said, pinch of salt, is as long as they return negative lateral flows, Alisson, Firmino, and Matip will be back and will probably be asked to play. And the other talk was that Van Dijk, Fabinho, and Jones weren't affected by COVID. So that's true. That's a spine 6 you've got there. Tyler Morton seems to be doing a lot of talking in the Echo to say he's there to take on the mantle. So potentially that could be your midfield 3 of Morton, Fabinho, Jones, which was. But Tyler Morton, he didn't have the best game against Leicester. He had the horror tackle that he did, which he got away with. So actually having a Fabinho next to him will do him some good. I think Fabinho needs to get the Chelsea game out of his legs.
Robbo as well available.
Well, we say Robbo.
Yeah,
he's available in terms of he's not suspended.
Yeah,
but is he one of the COVID cases? We don't know because we
don't know. I mean, look.
No, so.
Jono asked where's Kelleher? Jono, the reason why the Arsenal game was postponed is we had no keepers available full stop. Every registered keeper that we had tested positive. So without a keeper, there was no chance of that game going ahead.
But if that game on Thursday was the FA Cup game, it still would have gone ahead and it would have been the under-8s playing.
Well, it would have been. You'd have had one of maybe the Polish kid from the under 16s or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's nuts that I understand why, because
I mean, fixture wise, you can't. Where are you going to fit it in? There is that.
I think the Arsenal game that we've got to go there for is on the same week as the third round replays.
No replays.
So but that's where the third round replay would have been.
Yeah, that's why they scrapped it.
That was the only fixture slot available was that week. So is it a case with the FA Cup it goes straight to pens after 90?
No, still extra time and penalties. Just straight to pens would be too easy, wouldn't it? Which would have made take the pressure off clubs. COVID.
That would have been fun though. It really would. Yeah, because
I prefer that rather than the extra time. The extra time's crap. They're very rarely exciting. Like the Leicester game, we came back and did 3-3, went straight to pens. It was brilliant. It probably played to Liverpool's advantage because a lot of us had the adrenaline of we'd done equalised 5 minutes earlier, so we probably had the up of we just equalised and Leicester on the down of shit we've blown a 3-1 lead. Yeah. So there is that to it a little bit sometimes. Well, I suppose the extra time it does kill that momentum a little bit. So.
True.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is the game's not on. With the game not being on TV, I wonder how the Shrewsbury chairman's taking it because he doesn't take very kindly to Liverpool games not being on telly, does he?
Well, He
gets very upset and gets people's names mixed up.
It's not on telly in the UK. It is on telly, so they have got the global rights. Has been sold. Look, Liverpool games will be shown more often than not. There were people in the chat asking about Karius. Karius isn't registered, as far as I know.
No, Karius. I thought he was racing the Prem squad.
No, he's not.
But then again, to be fair, the first thing he's caught in ages, so
No, look, I mean, I wouldn't wish this. Well, look, it's no secret I had it, and it's the heavy cold and the headache and the what have you, but it goes on.
That's if you're lucky.
That's if you're lucky. I'm still a week and a half out of it now, and I'm still suffering a bit. So you hope that all these players they're good, fit athletes. You just hope that they return the negative tests and they're not going to suffer anything long term. And we don't know. And that's across the board, across the league.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, for all the moaning Arsenal have done about this game being suspended and all that sort of stuff, the team we play on Sunday,
20th, I think. Yeah.
Won't be far off a team that we're going to play on Thursday. No. Because most of the lads who've got COVID got it Tuesday or Wednesday. So,
yeah.
I know we said the outbreak was Wednesday, but I would imagine, reading through the lines, they probably found some out on Sunday, probably found some out on Monday, probably found some out on Tuesday. So they'll come back staggered. But Christ knows who. We don't know when.
And what they're going to be like when they do. I mean, there's some tasty games here as well, mine. Cardiff Preston looks a right tasty game. West Ham Leeds.
That'll be a good one, though.
That'll be a belter.
And good for West Ham. Hasn't Antonio just signed a new contract?
Yeah, he has. He's signed until 2024,
which is big for them. Which is big for them because he's their talisman. They just look a different side with them. Yeah. Bristol City Fulham could be fun.
Yeah, City are in no kind of form. Nigel Pearson is.
That's why I think it might be fun.
Nigel Pearson's hanging on.
Leicester Watford. Watford, that might be Watford's good chance of getting through because Leicester got 17 out.
Yeah, I mean, Watford kept hold of Emmanuel Dennis from AFCON, but they've lost a fair few.
I think keep hold of Emmanuel Dennis. I didn't get that.
What it was, he wasn't in the original squad. And when they wanted to name him in a supplemental squad, they didn't let the club know until it was too late. It was past the registration date. So that was the only reason the club were able to say no. But you'd assume the player would have had to agree, because the last thing they need is someone like him throwing a hissy fit, in the summer, demanding to leave because you wouldn't let me go and represent my country.
Yeah. But I'm definitely saying the Arsenal game could be tight. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, Arsenal are struggling as well with COVID.
The Arsenal match was talking about he had a few injuries. A few saying, did they stop Sarr? No, Sarr flew out. They didn't make him go. He was called up and they said, we'll manage your injury. So I don't know how far off he was, because they might think he's fit for the last 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get on to talking about AFCON in a bit, because look, we've both just had a quick skim through it. Once the tournament gets going, we'll definitely get talking a lot more about it.
Well, we've also got Wolves Sheffield United, and I think the best game is going to be Monday night's the best game. United Villa.
Yeah, United Villa. Yeah, and in fairness, Coutinho's
debut.
Didn't he make his debut in the FA Cup for us? It was a Fleetwood or someone like that.
No, that was Sturridge did. I don't think Coutinho played. No, I think he played the week after.
Sturridge around the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember Sturridge did, because remember he scored after 7 minutes. Yeah. Then there was the whole handball Suarez goal, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Which the fellow who stood, the chairman was on the pitch having a rant. We're quite good at riling chairman, aren't we? Yeah, big goal. We're really good at it. So,
yeah, United Villa will be an absolute cracker, because someone in the chat, I can't remember who it was, who could put it back in there again when I was talking about fun formations. The 4-2-2 at United. I mean, what's going on there, man? What is going on there?
Now, listen, this could be red tinted glasses. It probably is with me. I don't remember half of this shit coming out when Klopp joined, and he was making them run the bollocks off and make them play a different way. Different how Rodgers played. I'm not saying better or worse, but you're like, what's going on there? So, but yeah, all the players are letting know they don't want to be there, which in some ways, you can split it 2 ways. If you're a United fan, you're going, well, great, because they're the shite, we don't want them, because they don't want to be here, so get them out. But then there's also we've heard this story quite a few times, big players. It wasn't small, like Pompa isn't keen, and Bailly isn't keen them. I mean, there's also Lingard and Mata, but they're not playing, really. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, really. So
it's the ultimate player power. It's the ultimate player move, isn't it? Because in all fairness, they've got managers sacked in the past. This group of players, the ones they brought in. I mean, can you imagine if you're Donny van de Beek? You're sitting there don't know which way to look. You don't know which way to turn. This is all seems to be coming from senior players. Yeah, you've got the captain and Ronaldo after having a massive falling out, apparently. You've got the former CEO of the club leaking stuff to TalkSport left, right, and centre.
But did you hear
the inner goings of what's going on at the club?
Did you hear what Ronaldo apparently said according to them?
No.
Someone tagged in Manchester Even News, so I don't this is true. Because I genuinely, when I read this, thought it was a wind-up. Apparently Ronaldo said to Maguire, "Do you not want more shiny things other than the ones you had on your wrists at Greece?" Words to that effect. You're like, "Oh, that's a bit cut and B." I'm not surprised if it's true.
Close to the ball.
If that's true, I'm not surprised Maguire lost his shit, because there's no need for that. But again, you don't know how much of that shit stirring on social media. So, but there's no smoke without fire, because you hear all these stories fly out now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's when you just know it's not stable.
When I first saw Rangnick coming in, I thought, he's brilliant at building squads at a level, and he is. He's everywhere he's been, be it Leipzig, be it in Russia, he did it. In various clubs in Germany, he's done it. He's built really good squads to sell on for profit. It's nuts that they should have appointed him as a director of football with a manager. I mean, the club, the stature size of Manchester United, should be able to attract a manager. The fact that they ignored Conte tells me that there are people whose decision it is are listening to the likes of Gary Neville.
Yeah.
They're taking who should and shouldn't be appointed from the likes of Neville and Rio Ferdinand.
But Conte rocked the boat. I mean, I did find it funny. First back four, would you see a tweet from Gary Neville saying, "It's not very good, this, isn't it?" I was thinking, mate, it's not been very good for like 2 years, really. But you wouldn't say that to your mate, and then when you were accused of not saying it, you said you were being accused of asking to be sacked. I said, no, we just want a bit of say how it is. Look, Carragher will say when you think things are good at Liverpool. I do think a lot of it now with Carragher is a little bit get the sound bites for his Sky contract. Look, that's the game. But you can't say he is. The interesting with Carragher will be when Gerrard does a bad run, which he will, because all managers have a bad run. That's the nature of the beast. You always have a losing streak at some point. It just happens.
Robbie Doyle in the chat there is spot on, saying that Roy Keane said it 2 years ago. Those players will throw Ollie under the bus, and they did, and they'll keep doing it because it's in their DNA now. Yeah. They want the cushy life. They want the 350 grand a week. They want the big wages because there's no bonuses. Their wages aren't like ours, where they're incentive driven. I mean, Mohamed Salah's base contract might be 200 grand a week, but Mo Salah hasn't earned 200 grand a week ever at Liverpool.
No.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many incentivizing bonuses in his wage structure that he's one of the highest paid footballers on the planet.
But I think the challenge for Liverpool is going to be, and I think Mo Salah's probably right in this, going perhaps he wants less bonus incentives and more of a bigger base to work from.
And it's one of those things now that because he's got 18 months left on his deal, he's in a very strong position.
I'll be honest. If we get to end of Feb and he's still not signed it, that's where you do start to worry a bit. Then you're like, that could be that could be going into the realms of he's either going in the summer for a big fee or just enjoy the next 18 months because he's obviously got something lined up. Yeah,
so we'll never know because, in fairness, nobody knows what's going on inside the club, and I think that's what's driving everyone batshit crazy because we're all looking at things adding 2 + 2, trying to come up with 4 with the best will in the world, but it's all guesswork.
Not that in my opinion, the owners well known. I think they do a lot of things well. There are frustrations I have with all of them, but anything that's leaked now, they assume it's coming from the Liverpool end, and sometimes you have to go like, Liverpool's a big name now, a bigger name than it was 10, 15 years ago in the Premier League. We're linked with everyone, and half the lads we're linked with, we're probably not even looking at. Jurgen Klopp we're not interested in, but certain clubs, Liverpool, United, Arsenal to a certain extent, it gets attention, it gets clicks.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is, whether the links are true or whether the links are, there tends to be a pattern or form to the type of player Liverpool linked with. So we've been linked with Luis Diaz and we've been linked with Danjuma. Do I think we'll get even in January? No, I don't think we'll get even because I don't see Liverpool A, spending £70 million in January. I think that's like a summer job. And B, why would Porto and Villarreal sell probably their best players
while they're still involved in Europe?
While still involved, why sell? Now I get people say they're not going to win this or they're not going to do that, but all clubs have a certain expectation. Porto's might be is to get past the last 16. That's their aim. Get financially past the last 16, which will help them with their FFP issues, and then they can then sell Diaz in the summer. That's their plan. Villarreal the same. They'll want to do well in Europe with Danjuma. They're not going to without him. So they're 2. Yeah. And then the other 3 is Basuma is always talked about.
Yeah.
Zacharias always talked about, and Shumani. I hope I said that right. I've probably got
Shumani.
I was close.
Shumani's playing in France. France under 21 regular. He's played for the senior team as well. I do like this kid. He's very, very good. The fact that he would have come through the youth ranks with Ibou Konate could be a help to us in trying to lure him, but he's another one. He's not one for now. He's one. So again, he's definitely a move that you make in the summer, and it's more so about finding buyers for the players we need to move
Yeah,
to make room in the squad for it.
Yeah, so this is the thing with the buy. People get really upset with the whole buy to sell thing, which is it's not always sell them for the money; it's sell them for the space.
Yeah,
we have got one space in the squad now. Even the one space we've got in the squad, I think it might have to be a homegrown player because I think we're at our quota for foreign players, aren't we? Aren't we?
No, I think because it was Shaqiri.
Red Steve's winding me up again. Chris is testing talk about women's football. I will do. Don't you worry.
I've literally got to come to that now. But the thing is, I think because it was Shaqiri that left, and he hasn't worked out, it's gone pear-shaped for him at
can't stay Leon. Fit. Apparently can't stay fit.
Can't stay fit.
Who knew?
I know.
This is why.
But that's a dodgy thing as well for us because when players leave, we need them to succeed when they leave because it doesn't look good that when players leave us, they're burnt out. And it just makes it more difficult to move players on in the future.
The thing is with Shaq, though, not being funny, like he barely played for 2 years for us. You know, he kept in the Champions League. We talk about the Champions League semi-final, but before that, he hadn't played for months.
No.
You know, so and it wasn't like he wasn't playing because he wasn't a good player. He wasn't playing because he wasn't fit. So I think Shaq get away with a little bit because people say, "Well, he's burnt out." It's like, well, he's not. He barely played for 2 years, so I'm not sure what you have.
We have signed someone, and it was for the LFC women's side.
Yeah,
American via Norway.
Yeah, Katie Stengel is her name. So she's played for America. She's 28 now. She's played for the 21s, under 23s for America. I've asked around a few people I know in the women's game. I probably need to try and see if I can speak to our mate Emma Sanders if we can get her to come on to give us a bit more proper info on it. But played for Bayern Munich. I think she had played under Matt Beard briefly in America. I think she was one of the top goal scorers when she played in America. She's played in Australia as one of the top goal scorers in Australia. So she knows where the net is from all regards. Probably she's good in tight spaces, a bit more physical. I think she's 5'9", so a bit of a different striker. It helps Liverpool in the sense that our main goal threat is the young Irish lady, Leanne Kiernan, doing really well. Different type of striker. She's more getting behind, very electric, good ball skills and all that. And the more target forward you had was probably Rihanna Adine, but we haven't seen her now for 2 or 3 months. She picked up a foot injury. She's still not back. So I think it helps. It takes a little bit of pressure from Leanne Kiernan because we always say, Leanne Kiernan scores. But, everyone goes through
What was a bit of a buzz around the women's game, though, when you get players signing from America? Because, look, the US has been dominant for a long time. And
I also think she must think, I think the fact Liverpool are top at Christmas is the reason we're able to get her. There is a connection with the manager, but I think that's the reason they've got her. I think if we were 3rd or 4th, I don't know what she looks at us, because I think she's literally decided I could do championship for 6 months because I want to be in WSL.
Yeah.
I guarantee if we don't get promoted this year, she'll be gone in the summer.
Yeah.
And that's not because she's mercenary or anything like that. She's a good player, and good players will want to play. And then the other out we had was Rinsola Babajide. They come to a mutual agreement on her contract. She was on loan at Brighton this year. Jane, very talented player. Scary, blistering pace, cracking shot on her. But she wanted to leave last January. I think the club refused it. Something obviously went on behind the scenes because we never saw the rest of the season. She's gone to Brighton. She went to Brighton for 6 months. I don't think she got that much game time, and her loan at Brighton's been cut short now as well. So she's on the lookout for another club. So she's just gone for a spell, which is not whatever. Hopefully it does. She was a good player, and so but I mean, she should always get a game because her pace is ridiculous. Yeah. If you've got pace and a decent finish on you, you'll get games all the time. So
good.
Hopefully,
one other thing before Christmas, we were talking about Coventry City, and the story that broke was that Coventry were going into receivership. There's been an update on that as well.
Yeah, it looks like, I haven't read all the details on it. Again, I need to get Emma Sanders on the blower, really, don't I? That they think someone has come at the 11th hour to keep the club going, which fingers crossed is good. Now, this is where the FA and that need to wake up a little bit. Is they've got a 10-point deduction because they went into administration. Now, I know people say rules are rules. So you go to administration, you get a point deduction. I don't think it should be 10 points, though, because you got to think of it. The men get 10 points, but we play 38 games, or in the Championship, you play 45 games, 46 games.
Yeah.
In the Championship, there are 12 teams. You play 22 games. 10 points out of 22 games is massive. That's like docking a men's team 20, 25 points.
Yeah.
If you're going to have to dock them for going into administration, so be it. It should be 4 or 5. You basically relegated them. I think now they're going to be on -4 points. And I think Watford are on 6. So you basically relegated them. So
yeah, you have. And
not
that
only
just
are
makes
they
it, as an investment, it makes it next to impossible from.
It's just like left hand, right hand doesn't know what they're doing. I get you want consistency, and that if you go into administration, you do have to be punished for it. I agree with that, but you've got to put it in proportion. Yeah. And I don't think punishing someone for that is. I mean, and the other one is apparently Mike Ashley's put an offer of 50 million to buy Derby, which is good for Derby because it gets out of the shit. But
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Newcastle fans didn't like him. So
I just don't think at the minute Derby County can be beggars can't be choosers. Rooney's actually doing pretty well there.
He is.
Yeah, I think it's his assistant's Liam Rossinier. It was if they can get safe. I mean, it'll be a hell of an achievement if they can get safe. I hope a deal can be done. I don't give I couldn't care less who the owner is, if it's Ashley or if it's anyone else, because Derby County
are as long as he's got the money.
Yeah.
Sorry, we know Ashley's got it. As long as he's going to use some of it to help out. Because thing is, as much as we all he's ex-Man United, he's ex-Everton, so he's very easy to poke fun at Wayne Rooney. If it wasn't for the points deduction, they're on the outskirts of playoffs.
Yeah.
So form-wise, manager-wise, you couldn't do much more with the squad he's got. To be fair to him, so. That's cutting your teeth.
They've got a fair chance. They've got, Barry Devney is right there. Liam Rossinier is one of the best pundits. See, the guy is brilliant.
Yeah, but you know why he's brilliant? He's played that level.
He's played in the league.
Played in the league. He can clearly tell he does research.
Yeah.
That's why I liked Alex Scott's, and a few like they do research. They don't do the Jermaine Genius, the Alan Shearers, the Jamie Redknapp. You just say random shit that you can say, basically, what you me could do. Yeah. You make just say random unresearched shit and go, wow.
Yeah, exactly. But
you know what I mean?
Liam Rossinier, remember his dad played Leroy? Leroy Rossinier was in the lower leagues. Leroy Rossinier was a proper player. Do you know what I mean? He was a proper player. And he was around that era when it was difficult for him. And Liam would have learnt an awful lot growing up with his dad, especially the amount of moving around you do as a footballer, and he did. He had an awful lot of clubs, but I think he's a brilliant coach, dynamite pundit, and I think if Derby can get safe, man, that'll be a hell of an achievement from where they've been.
I'll be honest, if they don't get safe, they're not keeping Wayne Rooney.
Oh no!
And this is not me.
I don't think they're keeping him either way, because if they get safe, he'll be in demand because it's a hell of an achievement. If they get relegated, he's off.
This is unlike the Frank Lampard thing. This is proving it under proper pressure.
Yeah,
I think if you're doing that under the level of pressure he's doing, that shows. As much as we don't like Wayne Rooney, and he doesn't like us, so it's perfectly fine. Credit where credit's due, he's doing really well there. And, that is, if he gets a job, say, in a lower half president or a higher championship club, you'd be going like, but he's cut his teeth, and he's cut his teeth in a hard way. Yeah. And Dicko said, Rooney for the next manager. Not if he does want to wreck his manager career. I'd say far away from Everton as possible. It's a shit show at the moment.
Yeah.
I do think when Rafa goes, I think then we'll see the depths of how bad it is. And I think then you'll be going, you can't go through Rafa, Ancelotti, all these sort of proven managers, and then go, but look at what they've given you. Not very much.
Yeah.
So
Gary Mack asking there if I'm still watching the Ashes. We are a bit. Hey, I saw something last night, which Kev's seen once. I've seen it very rarely, which was Australian bowler bowls the ball,
Stokes leaves it, and he hit a loud thud. So they appeal for LBW. It's given, goes to review. It doesn't hit Ben Stokes. It clatters into the wicket. Doesn't knock the bails over. Just bounces off. So he's still in.
So he's still in. Yeah, it's not out.
But this is not like a spin ball. It's a fast bowler. So
yeah, I've seen it before.
See very often.
Yeah,
spin bowlers I've seen it, but I've not seen it with a fast bowler. It's very rare with a fast bowler.
Yeah, I very rarely see that with a fast bowler. But yeah, Bairstow's did okay. It's a good pitch because it's the Sydney pitch usually gives everyone a chance. If you get in, you can score runs.
They need to back to lunch tomorrow. They back till close to lunch tomorrow because they've won the follow up. Because Australia will try to do it very quick and make England back the day. You want to get to day 5. Australia's still batted.
Yeah,
and then hopefully
Australia will try to have 4 sessions.
I think so.
At England, and
it's
the 5th day. It should turn, but then they've missed a lot of time out. It doesn't look like your traditional SCG wicket where.
And you had it's the McGrath test, isn't it? It's the pink test, isn't it?
The pink test. It was the pink day yesterday
for his wife.
For his wife, yeah. She passed away of breast cancer a good while ago now, about 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, because they auction off all the baggy pinks, all the baggy greens,
the caps, yeah.
And first, England support that as well. They throw that in as well. So, and fair in the summer, we do the same in England. We do wear red for Ruth, isn't it? So that's where sport does good things out of it. So speaking of thoughts, doing good things, trying to do that. Have you seen the Anne documentary yet? Drama documentary.
Look, the first episode dropped in Ireland last night, and they're doing it weekly here. Or you could go on the Virgin Media Player and watch the last 3 episodes, which I did. Last night, I was up until probably
the actress.
2 o'clock in the morning.
I forget her name. The actress who plays Anne Willis is fabulous in it. But it's how can I put this? It's a horrible watch, but I don't mean that dismissively because it's really hard to stomach because it's so raw and it's so wrong what happens to the families. But it's so well done.
Maxine Peake. Cheers, Robert.
But it's so well done. It's so well written. It's so well shot. It's very cutting, very dry. Basically, if you're one of these knobbers who sing the shite that you sing, watch that, get a grip, because this thing. Now, I've seen the 2 local Liverpool MPs, including the Everton fan who was at Anfield when they all sang Justice at him. It's Andy Burnham. There is a campaign going out now, which I think if you look on my Twitter line,
it's on your Twitter feed.
It's called Hillsborough Law now, and this is coming from Hillsborough, but it is not about Hillsborough. It's about changing the law so something like a Hillsborough or a Grenfell Towers can't happen again, where an institution has to tell the truth. If they don't tell the truth, they are very senior people are liable for prison time. They're liable for basically you can't get away with changing witness statements, lying and saying people didn't have tickets when they did. The Grenfell stuff, you can't be saying like we didn't know this cladding was flammable when you clearly did.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. So it's the change in the law. But obviously, to do that, that's why we're doing the retweet is you've got to get this going. You've got to get this talked about. So it's a thing to look into,
Well, if you're living in the UK, get on Chris's feed, get on the hashtag, and
Steve Rotherham is doing a lot of work with.
See if there's anything, share the stuff around. If it's petitions that need signing, just get on and get them signed. Anything that can be done to push this forward, look to get it done. I mean, back to football. African Cup of Nations.
Yep.
Now, look, this was due to be held last summer. No one had a problem with it when it was being held last summer. No. And now we're all up in arms because we're all losing our best players for the bones of 5 weeks. But here's the kicker, right? 20 years ago, when JJ Okocha was playing in the Premier League and he used to go off to the AFCON and what have you, it was only a couple of players. It was only a handful of players that were in the old Premier League, First Division, that would have been good enough to play in England.
Majority of household names, though.
Yeah. Now you look at the list of players who are going from the Premier League, from the Championship League on.
And these aren't bit part players.
These are proper players.
You've got Sebastian Haller, who's banging goals for fun in the Champions League. You've got Slimani, who's done time at Leicester, who's now, still a good striker. You've got Iheanacho, you've got Salah, you've got Mane, you've got Mahrez. Salah, Mane, Mahrez are playing for the two clubs that have won the Premier League for the last 4 years. That's, and not just playing like, they came on for a couple of minutes and they're going off. They were the main focal points of it. So, it's a big I remember I used to watch it on Beep too. It was great.
The thing
many years ago.
Yeah, because we were all looking out for the next big thing to come out of
Africa.
And it was great for fans to watch because you would see a Yaya Toure playing. And you might have heard of him, but you never really got a chance to watch him because you weren't
until you saw him and went, wow.
And now I think it's a shame that it's being held mid-season. It is. It's as a standalone competition, it's up there because I was looking at the betting earlier on today, right?
Tight, isn't it?
Very tight. Senegal are favourites, 4-1. Algeria, Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco, the next in the betting.
Right? I mean, Algeria defending champions at the moment because they beat
Algeria defending champions.
They beat Senegal, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the final on pens. So not pens, was it? No.
Extra time.
Extra time, wasn't it? Sorry, we thought it was going to pens. So
in Africa, in African football, Algeria are 34 games unbeaten.
Mad, isn't it?
Excluding friendlies and what have you. Senegal, when you've got the likes of Mendy, Koulibaly, Mane, Sangare, they've got some serious talent in that side.
Algeria, it's just Algeria got serious. There's loads of talent. It's going to be a good tour. Yeah. I think,
and a lot of the football is on in the daytime. You're going to have a late morning game because I think there's a 2-hour time difference. So you might have a late morning game, an early afternoon game, and an early evening game. So a 5 o'clock kickoff might be the evening game for when they're starting.
I still think if you want it to be treated with the respect a big tournament like that should, like the Euros is, like the World Cup is, like the Copa America is. If it's played in African countries where you can play it in the summer, where the heat and the weather's not going to be unsafe, then so be it. If you're going to do it mid-season, now you can't do it like this for this year because we've got a mid-season World Cup. But what we do for the mid-season World Cup, we send all the lads to the World Cup and then we just crack on without them. No, we stopped every league for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
stop every league for 5 weeks.
Jonathan is a fair point. Why is it not played in the off season? There's only a handful of countries on the continent that
weather-wise where it's suitable.
That are capable of hosting a big tournament like that in what would be our summer. You're talking South Africa and the lower half of the African continent. Anything from the Central Africa upwards. So you're talking Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Cameroon.
And you can't say to all those countries, sorry, to fit in with us, you could never host a national tournament. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
If UEFA, is it UEFA? Is it what the UEFA? FIFA, sorry. If they gave a shit, then you tell all the countries in Europe, right? Every 2 years, the season stops in January and it ends in June, and you just plan it right. You make sure it's it doesn't clash with World Cups and whatnot with you, and that way then we all go, oh, there's no football in January. Okay, well, we'll have to watch, but you get to watch an international tournament. Cool. Guess what? Most people will watch it because me and you are
I'd watch it.
I want to watch it. And I like watching tournaments. Tournaments are brilliant fun. As much as international football bores me, tournaments don't. Copa America,
good.
AFCON, anything like that, I'll watch because they're always a festival. They're always fun to watch. And like you said, you tend to find the odd player where you go on, I've never seen him before.
I think John has got a point there because it was due to be held in the summer. But I honestly don't believe it would have been, Jono, because I think you're talking temperatures in Cameroon in the summer of, between 40 and 45, 50 degrees in some parts. It might have been played, but it wouldn't have been football as you know it.
Been walking football, which then it diminishes the value of it. It doesn't help the viewing spectacle, and it doesn't help the players either.
It would wreck the players coming back, for the next probably, God knows, maybe 6 weeks or more before they actually come back.
And
I mean, Barry is spot on. Mane said he would swap all his Liverpool trophies to win the AFCON with Senegal.
Yeah.
Fair enough, because in all fairness, I often listen to or read biographies and stuff, and you read what the Brazilian lads think about winning World Cups and what they think about winning Copa Americas. Club football is one thing. That's your day job, but representing your country is everything to these players.
Yeah,
it's absolutely everything.
It's a very English thing that I'll give a shit about England. And it's not just a Liverpool thing, as much as Liverpool fans don't have their thing for it. And I've seen that comment, and I've seen quite a few Liverpool fans getting really pissy over it, going, but that's his dream. His dream wasn't to play for Liverpool. His dream was to win the AFCON for his country. It's like kids probably 30, 40 years ago, their dream was to win the World Cup with England. Yeah. Or win the World Cup with Ireland. That's people's dreams. That's some people's dreams. Exactly. For the Welsh players, it would have been, so the likes of Nico Williams, Gareth Bale, their dream would have been to play in a World Cup.
Yeah.
I know people will laugh at that, going, you want to win it. So yeah, but it's all relative to what your country is. So for Senegal, it's to win it. He's come close a couple of times. So now, if you want to put the Liverpool bias head on, imagine Mane wins it. Can you imagine what Mane bounces back? AFCON winners finally won the AFCON. That could bounce Sadio Mane back into the form we saw a year ago.
Yeah, comes back second half of the season and really attacks it. Who knows?
But then you've got the same with Salah, who might want the perfect season, which is I want to win the AFCON with Egypt and I want to win a big trophy with Liverpool this year.
Yeah,
it can also be a positive. Touch wood, they don't get injured, and Naby Keita might play 3 games in a row. There are miracles could happen over time.
But the one thing that does worries me with, and it is actually with Naby, is that he is the man playing for Equatorial Guinea,
and in the last AFCON, he was playing when he clearly wasn't fit. I know Liverpool fans will say we pay his wages. He should say he's not fit. You
don't say no to your country. That's the thing.
That's the thing. That's just the way some players are built. I've
seen Dutch players over the years, notoriously Dutch players, will never play. Ian Robben was one of the worst, and Robin van Persie, where if they had a niggle, they wouldn't play.
Yeah, some players are like that.
But you ask them to turn up for the Netherlands, and they'll run through brick walls for it.
Yeah.
You see him when they go back to play for Holland, and you see Virgil going back into the dressing room after his year out. He wouldn't swap that for anything. That feeling with everyone around him. It's just the way other countries look at international football
differently,
and and I hate to say it, but it is a very English thing to disregard international football. Especially for fans at clubs in the top 4 or 5 clubs in the league, because we look at everything from a club perspective. Whereas if you're, no disrespect to Leeds, but if you're a Leeds fan or a Nottingham Forest fan or Bristol City fan or Luton Town, you will also look at things for international football through a different prism.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I mean, there's some players to watch out for in this tournament.
I look forward to it.
Edmund Tatsoba will be playing in the opener against Cameroon, centre back for Bayer Leverkusen. The guy has 54 appearances. He's made 1 error leading to a goal in that time since arriving from Portugal. This kid is going to be an absolute superstar wherever he ends up, whether it's going to be staying at Bayer Leverkusen for another couple of years and moving on to Bayern Munich, which I think is more likely.
Mm-hmm.
He is a top tier. His brother as well as a left. I think his brother's a left winger, but he's not on the same level as what Edmund is. Edmund is a dominant centre half. he's every bit as good a centre back coming out of Germany at that age that you'll see. 21, 22, 23. He's going to be a superstar. Khalidin Sulemana. He's at Rennes. He went from Rennes to Michelin. From Michelin to Rennes. It's the end of the summer transfer window of 20 million. He's kicked on. He's really, really, really kicked on. He's do you remember last year when everyone was talking about Jeremy Doku at Rennes? But this kid plays on the other side. And you got the two of them there now. And that's why Rennes are one of those sides that I go out of my way to watch them when they're playing, because of those two. They're really, really entertaining. Still young, but he could light up the tournament, make a name for himself. We'll get there, Gary. We'll get there, Gary, mate. There's a few older heads as well. Moses Simon. Moses Simon is at Nantes, and he's doing really well. He's one of these players. He's tricky wingers that he's easy on the eye. In product ain't all that, but he's an edge of your seat type of winger. But you look at the top scorer market for the tournaments, and bearing in mind who you think is going to get to a final, I think Sadio Mane is a hell of a shout to be top scorer in this tournament. 17-2.
Oh, he's 8-1 on the one I
looked. 8-1, 17-2. The one I was looking at. Mo Salah 4-1.
There's not much value in the Mo Salah one, though, is there?
No, there isn't, because I don't think Egypt go past the semi-finals.
That's what I mean. So he's probably not going to get to the final. But then again,
North
if Mo Salah's top goal scorer, you wouldn't be surprised.
He was at. Yeah. Mahrez 15-2. If Algeria are going to go deep, Mahrez is going to have to be the one that gets him there.
I think so.
Sebastian Haller 17-2.
It's how far Ivory Coast go.
Ivory Coast are one of those. They're one of those countries that they're on their day type of.
They'll get to at least the quarters, you would have thought. But...
Yeah, and because remember the headlines: Liverpool 5, Germany 1.
I remember watching that.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and it was one of those games where England were playing. I was like gobsmacked.
Four of the assists for Liverpool players as well. There's only one. I think it was just the Heskey goal. I think Scholes sets up the Heskey goal.
Yeah.
But that's when England took the piss, though, in that game. Didn't we bring on Carragher for the last 5 minutes as centre mid?
Yeah, something like that.
I think Nick Barnby got run out in the second half as well. So
I tell you what, an outside shot for the tournament, right? And they'll be horrible to watch. But Keith likes them a lot. Sorry, Gar, is Morocco.
Oh, okay.
Morocco, 9 clean sheets in their last 10 games. You have Saiss from Wolves and Hakimi, who's at PSG, £70 million signing. A few other players, but no real star names. But they're going to be a tough side to beat. And I honestly, looking at this tournament, couldn't.
Who should Ziyech play? He's not been selected, has he? I've seen someone say, how's Ziyech not been selected? I can't remember which country he plays for.
Tunisia. Or not Tunisia, sorry, Morocco.
Morocco. Not in the Morocco squad.
Not in the Morocco squad.
Fitness is always an issue with him.
Yeah, and there could have been a falling out. That's the other thing you don't know when it. No, I think it is Morocco, but that is the other thing you get with the African nations. Some of the countries with some players really do fall out. I mean, if you fancy a bet on Aubameyang at 20-1 to be the tournament top scorer, good luck. But I don't think Gabon are going to be thereabouts. Ant was shouting in there, Salah. I don't think he will be, Ant, because I don't think Egypt get to the latter stages. I think they're very, very dependent on Salah. They have a few other good players, but there's.
I was just saying if Aliou Cisse was still the Senegal manager, he is actually. He's been there a long time. 2000. I was just saying, he feels like he's been their manager forever.
8-9 years.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah, he was a decent player. I remember him.
He was a decent player. Yeah, played a lot in France, I think.
Yeah, and did Birmingham and Portsmouth for a little bit, for a couple of seasons. He's a good player, good centre mid.
Yeah, that tells you everything, Jonathan, that you need to know about Pierre Aubameyang. He's
got COVID partying in Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So, do you want to talk about Djokovic because he's a divisive?
Yeah.
To be fair.
Look,
So I've seen a few saying it's embarrassing for Australian tennis. My understanding of it, and you could correct me if I'm wrong because I probably am, is he believes he has a doctor's exemption form from basically not being vaccinated.
Yeah.
He's got all the way to Australia, and whatever exemption he thinks he has, the Australian government have said it's not a valid exemption, or either the paperwork he's given, they've gone, there's not enough, or that's not enough to be an exemption, or you may think you're entitled to an exemption, but according to the way we do it, you're not. So you go back into quarantine, and they're leaving it till Monday now, and he's been a bit of a martyr about it, and you're a bit like, it's one of two things. Either the Australian government have changed the rules, very much doubt it, or basically he's been badly advised.
I think Rafa Nadal done a press conference there, and he was probably spot on in what he says. These rules of entry into Australia, and anyone who's living over here, especially in Ireland, will have friends or family who are in Australia. It's a very popular destination for people for Irish people who go there in their 20s. And we know how difficult it has been for them to get in and out of Australia.
They've been very strict.
No, Kieran, that's not true. What happened is the tournament organizers granted him an exemption, not the country, not the government. And it's become a very big political football now because Melbourne is the most locked down city in Australia, and the population of Melbourne have bought in, whether people like it or loathe it, they've bought into everyone has to get vaccinated, do your bit for everyone else so that we can move on with our lives. They cannot allow someone to come in from the outside, from abroad especially, but to come up with an exemption who whether he is or isn't vaccinated, we don't know because he's never said whether he is or isn't. We don't know we don't know the ins and outs of what this exemption is, but it's almost a case now of I'm going out of my shield. Not Rafa Nadal said in his press conference that look, the rules of entry into Australia have been the same for months. All the players were told 3, 4, 5 months ago about what you need to do to go to Australia to play in this tournament. All of the players have signed up to it and have gone through the right way to qualify to get into Australia to play in this tournament. And up strolls Djokovic at the last minute and wants to do things on his own steam. Now, we'll find out on Monday what the story is. But
I mean, look, one of the biggest icons in Australia is Glenn McGrath. As an England fan, he battered us. And look, this test is his, it's a big thing, this, for Glenn McGrath. It's the memory of his wife, it's raised a lot of money for cancer. He's currently got COVID, and yesterday was his last day in quarantine. So he's allowed out of quarantine from tomorrow. He's still not allowed to go to the test match, though.
No.
Because they're so strict. They said, yes, that's fine. You're now out of quarantine. You still can't come into our crowded sports arena because just in case.
Yeah.
And this is like,
if you could put Dario's comment up there, said Chris.
This is someone you'd make an exception for. So, but we don't. So that's what I like.
Yeah, Dario's saying it's still the number one player in the world. This should have been clarified between Australian tennis and the government before granting an exemption. True, but according to Rafa Nadal, all of the players were told well in advance. They're talking back in October time of what they needed to do to be granted a visa to come into the country.
Because, but that visa for the country could still be with an exemption.
But the problem was before players were coming in and they were having to quarantine in hotels for 2 weeks. That was the problem last year. This year, they wanted the players with the tournament advisors wanted to get around that. So they came up with a way of, through the vaccine passport system, to allow vaccinated players to come into the country, quarantine, and as long as they were giving negative lateral flow tests, they didn't have to quarantine in a hotel. So they were allowed to continue preparations for the tournaments. And that was what Rafa Nadal was explaining in his press conference. And, you know, you can take it as read that the players, all of the players on the tour were told this, including Novak Djokovic. So he doesn't have an excuse to say, I didn't know. He's just doing this off his own steam. And we'll find out on Monday what the final result will be, you know, but whatever the situation is, you've got people who live in Melbourne are not happy, and they're the ones who just, you know, they turn up to vote. So I can't imagine the politicians are. I can imagine the politicians in and around the Melbourne area are very nervous about what this judge decides to say on Monday.
Well, I've seen a few saying it shouldn't matter that he's number one, and to be honest, there is that rule.
It doesn't matter.
It's the people of going. It's one rule for me, one rule for you, which. Yeah. We've touched on that subject earlier, and I think that's where everyone gets pissed off because I'm, you know, if Djokovic can do something that is perceived to be different to everybody else, then why can't the rest of them do it? And that's where, you know. But I mean, look, Australia's always been a hard country to get into, though, even pre-COVID. You know, and everyone's known that. There's just lots of red tape and legislation. That's how they do that. That's about birth control.
Yeah, they're not the kind of population that you go in and try and tell them what to do in their own backyard. They don't tend to take kindly to that.
New Zealand's very similar, you know.
Yeah,
but
they have their own way of doing things, and that's the way they'll do it. And whether we like it or not, it doesn't really make a blind bit of difference. And you're seeing the effects, really. I mean, I watched the Ashes, right? And I don't blame the players for this Ashes tour. You know, with the best will in the world, this tour has been an absolute shambles from start to finish. The preparation was ridiculously short. It was the side that went, they were undercooked, and it's no one's fault, bar the situation that they're in. I mean, they're putting on a series as best they can, but it's just some places, international sport at the minute is a lottery of what happens. I mean, one final thing on the FA Cup.
Yep,
our game against Shrewsbury.
Oh, pick a team, Kev. Go on.
Yeah, that's not going to fucking happen.
Oh, really, man? Go on, Kev. Should we pick a team for our
we'll try and pick a team. We'll do it with everyone in the chat as well, because we can only go on.
Let's go on. Should we go on the rumour that the 6, 7 first teamers we think are okay?
Yeah.
Playing. So you're talking Alisson, Matip, Van Dijk, Morton, Fabinho, Jones, and Firmino. So we need probably 2 fullbacks and 2 attacking players.
Yeah.
Because you could probably play Morton and Fabinho as a
double pivot, yeah,
and tell Thingy to crack on.
I think if Robertson is okay, Robertson plays.
So we just put Vegard Hegem is fit. I loved Vegard Hegem. He's still not fit now. You know what I mean?
Let me just sort these glasses out a sec.
Vegard Hegem was a lovely footballer, really good right back. I love Vegard Hegem. I thought he was brilliant for Liverpool. But he was a bit like Fabio Aurelio. He was just made of broken biscuits. He's forever pulling his hammer. It's such a shame. I think he retired quite a young age as well. It's a blasting past. That was the name I couldn't remember for our quiz as well. Yeah, the one Man City one. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, Kev. Sorry.
Cheeky beggar.
Well, you know, you had.
Look, I think Robbo plays.
Okay, we'll put Robbo right back.
No, Robbo play at left back.
Okay, put the left back. I just want to be awkward.
Left back. He's not a Cancelo. Let's be fair.
Trent,
I don't know.
I don't think. I think if it wasn't for this COVID situation, I wouldn't have thought Trent would have played anyway.
No, but it depends on what your man, the young kid,
Nico.
No, the other one, the one from Northern Ireland.
Oh, Bradley.
Right, yeah. If he's available, he probably does play.
So let's put Bradley in then for the moment. I mean, based on the Leicester game, we might have to put Nico up front.
No, I think Kay Gordon probably plays wide right,
and then we just need a left, and then we just need a left-sided player.
And I mean,
don't think Minamino's going to be. I think if Minamino's even around, he's on the bench because he's barely played recently.
Yeah. We don't know what the story is with Divock. You'd hope that this injury that he has that is cleared up.
Barry said Jota if fit. Yeah, Jota if fit.
Yeah.
The other thing with the FA Cup as well is, which could be a big help, especially if we've got lads who probably having a lot of training, is it's 5 subs.
Is it 5 subs?
5 subs in the FA Cup. You notice it's 5 subs in the FA Cup, 5 subs in Europe, 5 subs in the League Cup. You say it for the Premier League, you're a selfish bastard. It's amazing, isn't it? But every other competition is 5, apart from the league. Mad that, isn't it? But
yeah.
So 5 subs.
I think they try to go and get it. You're right in what you said. Actually, it'd be good to get minutes in the legs of some of these players that haven't been able to train for the last week. A lot of them haven't played. Musilowski is an interesting one if he's available because we haven't seen much of him.
Very highly thought of, though, isn't he?
He is, but he kind of fell off the radar a bit during the Euro under-19s. There was Balagese, another one. He could be in or around.
Dick Bonner's still around. He's 20. Is he 22 now? I feel like he's been around forever. Dick Bonner.
I don't think they'll take too many luxuries because it's the one thing I don't know much about Shrewsbury, to be honest. I don't.
Well, last time someone told me they're on their best run of form, which I think is they won 3 on the bounce. But other than that, I think they've had a bit of an indifferent season. So. Yeah,
Clarkson's back from his loan spell. That didn't work out very well for the kid.
No, it's a shame. But unfortunately, you get the same thing now, which is, and we'll touch on this very briefly, is because Liverpool haven't won the last couple of games or haven't played as well, everything's over experience. Now all of our kids are shite. The academy shite. If he's not good enough for Blackburn, why is he good enough for Liverpool? You go, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. So it's right fit, right times. And unfortunately for him, they've changed their system.
Yeah,
Blackburn. And they're on a winning run.
They're on a really good run at the minute.
But the manager went out with the Blackburn manager. I'd say how good a player he was and how impressed he was. He said he just couldn't give him a game because of the senior pros he couldn't drop.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few players in that situation. You've seen Twanzebe gone back to Manchester United from Villa and out on loan now to Napoli.
Yeah, Reece Williams having trouble at Swansea, isn't it? It's
Swansea not quite worked out. His trouble is mainly off-field stuff. Seen some of it venture online, not very nice.
Yeah, so
Blackburn would be an interesting shout. Yeah, Barry Dare saying that they're Blackburn are flying. They're in with a real chance of getting promoted.
Yeah,
which
in a way could do Liverpool a favour because we've done quite well loaning players out to them.
Yeah,
and I think that could do us good given. Talented or just on the players we think are just on the cusp to a Blackburn who will need them to stay in the Premier League. I think actually they could be quite handy. So
it's a double-edged sword though because you've seen the other side of that at Norwich with the kid from Chelsea.
They've all.
He's having a really rough ride of it at the minute, and at the end of the day,
I mean, I did see Norwich fans tell him to go back to Chelsea. I'm not being funny, guys. He's one of your better players from what the bits I've seen of Norwich. And I'll be honest, if you talk about your side, guess what? You'd still be going down because the squad's not deep enough.
Billy Gilmore, that's it. Tom Cantwell was one apparently that
Newcastle they want rid of him.
Newcastle are interested in. He's one of the many that Newcastle are being linked with.
He's not one. He's just got off the radar, hasn't he?
Yeah, yes. He looks like he's one that needs a move. He
probably should have gone 2 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Dick, I do remember when Cisse broke his leg at Blackburn. That was horrible. Still one of the most horrible injuries I've seen. Yeah. Oh, poor fella.
Yeah, Brereton Diaz absolutely smoking it at the minute in Ajib in the Championship. He's flying it for a big guy.
Didn't he play in the Copa America?
He did. Yeah, I think it's Ecuador or Chile.
I think it's Chile, wasn't it? Yeah,
it could be Chile. But yeah, they love him. They absolutely love him. He's changed his name and everything because it was Ben Brereton. Now it's Brereton Diaz.
Yeah. Tell who else is doing well in the Championship? Ex-Liverpool. Dominic Solanke.
He's found his feet.
Whether
it's a case that's his level, don't know.
Mm-hmm. Now we're talking. Liverpool have two clauses in his contract. One's a buyback, and one's a 20% sell-on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he'll come back to Liverpool. I don't.
No.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool did a bit of a Didi Hamann. Do you remember Didi Hamann went to Bolton?
Yeah.
And then they sold him. They sold him the next day to Man City for 500k more. Wouldn't surprise if Liverpool brought a Solanke and just fucked him straight off somewhere else. As a bit of a money.
That's what Barcelona did with Emerson Royal.
Yeah.
When Emerson Royal was on loan at Betis, they brought him back from Betis and sold him on to Spurs and kept the profit. I think it would be.
There's no way Solanke come back. I mean, how can I put it?
He's got all the tools to be a top number 9.
If he hadn't already played for Liverpool and we were linked to him as a potential strike option, people might go, maybe, but he's a championship striker and we know how it upsets people.
Yeah.
I just don't think it. I think there'd be too much pressure on him if he ever came back. Yeah. But it's an interesting one where you go you can see what Liverpool saw in him. It just didn't quite work out. And sometimes it's wrong place, wrong time sometimes. Yeah. I mean, but the difference was then he was having to he was coming in for the Salah, Mane, Firmino that was flying.
Yeah.
The good thing for Liverpool now, I think, is someone like a Diaz or a Rafinha or whoever we think we might want to buy as a wide forward. We now look at our front three and go, well, okay, I'm not getting ahead of Salah. The other two spots, though, I might fancy my chances because Jota's done that and proven it. Whereas now, to me, when you're playing Liverpool front three, it's Salah, Jota, and another. Jota's really pushed himself into that conversation now. So now I think that might help Liverpool in the transfer market when they do look for a wide forward. Is they're not now looking at that front three going, I'll never get in. They're now looking going, I probably don't get ahead of Salah. But I fancy my chances against the other two if I get a chance, which probably is a good thing actually that we feel that competition. So,
a few other players as well. It looks like they could be on the move in the next week.
Darren Potter should bring Darren Potter back. Remember that Champions League winner, Darren Potter.
Eddie Nketiah looks like he wants out.
Palace wants him, don't
out of Arsenal. Palace and West Ham looking at him apparently. And I think next week you'll find a few more. The problems, I think we've seen a link today from Aston Villa to Basuma. Guy from Brighton for Basuma. I can't see anything happening now with Basuma while he's away at AFCON.
You wouldn't have thought so because it's very hard to get countries to agree to do medicals while they're in the middle of a tournament. We've still got a World Cup, so it's really difficult.
You just don't see those type of moves happening. It'll be interesting to see what happens at Manchester United next week. Whether you get some of the French players, the Anthony Martials, the Jesse Lingards.
Seville one.
Seville were sniffing around him, but I don't know if Seville could afford him, to be honest.
The rumoured outs for us are Divock, isn't it? It's been linked
Divock has been linked with a move to Fenerbahce.
I just can't see us selling him unless we're getting a replacement in.
Yeah.
And I know we always joke about let's get rid of Divock, but it just doesn't make any sense at the moment to sell him unless you're bringing someone in. Nat Phillips, I kind of get. He's fifth choice. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's fifth choice.
He's the only one. I think he's the only one you could move and not need a replacement.
I think so, yeah, because I think
we've four. I think they did at the start of the summer. I was saying that look, you keep him to the January window in case anything happened to Virgil, in case Ibu didn't settle, in case anything happened to Joe Gomez.
But Joe Gomez is probably still a little bit of a worry because he's picked up niggles. Hasn't.
Yeah,
he's looked all right, but he hasn't quite got back to his level yet.
He desperately needs games. He desperately needs to be playing football.
But Van Dijk looks at about 70%, I would say. I still think there's some positional things we've seen for the last couple of goals. You can see where he's just not quite. Yeah. But I think that's just match sharpness. That's kind of, that's like when you're back in a year's time.
Yeah,
it's more natural. Matip to me has been our best centre back, and Konate, I think the only poor game he had was he wasn't great at home to Brighton.
But in general, he's been.
But not many were. Other than that, he's been really good.
Yeah, but anyone else, I think, if you're looking at the likes of Nico Williams, who's pushing for a bit of he's starting to push now to say, look,
I think Nico will go in the summer because I think he want to get a good 6 months under the belt to make sure he's in the Welsh squad. But you don't blame him. He's 20 now. He wants to play regularly. Yeah. As Liverpool have needed to look at that. Naguib Mohammed has asked, what would you think about Tielemans? He's a good player. I can't say Leicester won't sell him. Well, they certainly won't sell him in January.
Once they can't sell him now, Leicester are in the shit when it comes to
17 injuries, aren't they? So
that
may be a summer job because I think if Leicester miss out in Europe completely,
you
might see a little bit of a revamp of the Leicester squad. You know, and they've got Vardy now for 8 weeks, which is
and they still don't know if Vardy might need an operation on the hamstring, so that could be more.
AFCON hasn't Daka's
got a knock.
Hamstring again 3 or 4 weeks, so they've got no striker, which is going to be.
Johnny Evans is out till April with a hamstring that has to have an operation.
Yeah.
Even if Daka is back, Barry, it is him. There ain't nothing else. It's
he's done really well, Daka.
We'll see what he's like.
He looks good.
Yeah, he does. We'll see what he's like. There's going to be a few more, I think. Sven Botman, Newcastle have gone back in with an improved offer. This is where Newcastle's mettle is going to be tested now in this window. I think I said the other night with the Newcastle fan that was on that they did right by Kieran Tierney because 12 million was his money. But by the sounds of it, when everything is all added up, it's a seriously expensive deal for a right back. And when you factor in the wages that he's on, that's an expensive package. And I think other clubs might, if they're in a strong enough financial position to be able to resist them in January, they'll really test their mettle the longer this window goes on.
If that's what's the way, if he comes knocking at Liverpool for any of our, Newcastle could knock at any of our players, Liverpool will say stupid money because they don't need.
They won't even. Yeah,
they don't need it, and they'll just say like, "Well, if you really want Nat Phillips," once Liverpool went, "Oh, I'll take 20 million from them."
Yeah,
they actually don't want 20. They probably want like 12, 15, but they'll just say 20 to see if they'll take the piss. And
Adeyemi, I'm convinced, is going to follow the same.
He's turned.
As Garback is asking about Adeyemi in the chat.
Yeah, I've heard he's turned a few clubs down. He really wants a Dortmund move, doesn't he?
I think he's going to follow the exact same career trajectory as Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll go to Dortmund, and then possibly on to Bayern because he came through the Bayern Youth Academy originally and was rejected by the Bayern Munich Youth Academy. He's from Munich. He fell out there when he was young, moved on, but I think he fancy going back there. The interesting thing is to watch is contract situations that are down to the 18-month mark. Not so much the ones that are at 12 months now, that are up in the summer, but the ones that are up summer the following year. Munich have Robert Lewandowski comes down to 12 months at the end of the season.
And he said, there's talk now, he wants to move now, isn't it, 33?
Yeah. And whether it's the case that it's something that you take on for a season, I would in a heartbeat. I just would.
He's guaranteed goals, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's absolute brilliant player. That was today as well. The World Player of the Year.
Salah's up for that, isn't he?
Salah, Messi, and Robert Lewandowski for the calendar year. I think Lua wins it.
I think so. He should have won. He should have won it in the year they said they weren't doing. We'll play the other one. The one that Messi wins all the time.
Yeah.
Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
The year they said we're not doing Ballon d'Or this year when Lewandowski was just ridiculously brilliant. I mean, he's been ridiculously brilliant for a long time, but that season he was unreal.
He's still exceptional this year. He's doing really, really well.
Yeah. If you've asked about Bowen,
Jared Bowen, I like him.
West Ham won't sell him mid-season, especially with Europe and the injuries they've got. But you could see why Liverpool were linked with him, or why he was on Liverpool's radar or list, whatever you want to say.
I could see Klopp turning him into a number 8. I really could. I could see him being an attacking 8. I think he's got all the tools to do that job. He's quick. He's aggressive. He doesn't shy out of tackles. He's tracks back when he plays on that right wing. I could see him playing an 8 role for us. No problem. Like him a lot. Yeah.
And his finishing this year has been really good as well. His finishing was decent last year, but it's gone up a level. It feels like it has. So
he's very versatile, and everyone knows that Klopp loves that versatility in it there.
Yeah, he likes a few specialists, doesn't he? Your Van Dijk's, your Fabinho's, obviously Alisson. But then the rest, he likes them to be flexible to play in a few different positions. It's just what he likes to do. So
yeah, Laura's spot on. The Bowen's a good age. He's just turned 25. He wouldn't be cheap. You know, he wouldn't be cheap. You'd be talking anywhere between 45, 50 million for him.
Yeah.
Because let's be realistic. He hasn't played international football. He's had one really good season at West Ham. But, you know, when you look at what we got Jota for at 43 million, rising with add-ons, but 43 million, for me, that's the yardstick. When I look at the fees that are being quoted for the likes of Luis Diaz, he's not 30 million euro better than Diogo Jota. He just isn't. So I think if you use Jota and where he is in his career now as a yardstick for what transfer fees are realistic, then I think Bowen with the English tax at 42 to 45 is more than fair.
You know, 3 years and 3 years left of his contract. That's also a big factor.
It is a factor, but at the same time, the player could push this as well. You know, he's at that stage of his career. If you're going to move to a Champions League club, you do it at that age.
23 to 25 tends to be our sweet spot for buying players, you know. And I think that's the thing that someone said with Luis Diaz. His stats are very similar to what Sadio Mane, Salah's were just before we bought them. Not saying he's going to go to their level, but, you know, they kind of had that sweet point. I mean, saw some numbers about the goals he scored. I think he is overperforming the number of goals scored. I think he's scoring quite a few. I think people call them a worldie, or you know, tough angle goals, which you're not going to get. You know, that's very difficult to replicate. But he's in the right attacking areas. He's kind of.
But you also got to look at the league that Luis Diaz is playing in.
Yeah,
that's where I look. I mean, I always get nervous when you're talking about. It's not very many players come directly out of the Portuguese league and light up the Premier League. You get the odd few who have. João Moutinho, Ruben Neves.
Bernardo Silva, I think, was straight from Portugal, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was via Spain, I think.
Okay.
And Bruno Fernandes, his first year at Manchester United, well worth it. But you look at him now, and he's a shadow of that player.
I think I always think for those sort of players, the telltale signs have to do in Champions League or Europa League is that's kind of what you think what they're going to do. And to be fair to Diaz, he's looked good in the Champions League for the last couple of years, apart from when he plays against James Milner at left back. But you know, it's one of them.
Ruben Diaz,
lovely
settled
player
in at Man City, but you're talking about exceptions. You know, there isn't.
I know what you mean.
Count them in one hand. It's
a bit like players who've played in Italy for a long time that come to England. It doesn't. Yeah. Jorginho's one of them, but you know.
I get the same kind of nerves with players coming out of the Dutch league. The Dutch league is a very easy league to look good in. You know, David Klaassen for me is the prime example of that because he looked really good in the Dutch league, but as soon as he signed for Everton, it was just
he saw it with strikers. You know, Van Persie and Suarez, who looked brilliant straight from the Dutch league into the Premier League, but then Dirk Kuyt couldn't score the level of goals that he scored in Dutch.
Van
Hooijdonk didn't do it. Kesman scored goals for fun in Holland, didn't really do it at Chelsea. Ricky van Wolfswinkel, I just wanted to get the name out because it's such a great name.
Yeah,
he looked like a Van Persie style striker.
He reminded me an awful lot of Dirk Kuyt,
and it just didn't work. No. I mean, he went to Norwich, which was a bit of a hard slog, but
yeah, it's one of those that I became very nervous about paying big fees, and you see big fees being quoted for the likes of Ryan Gravenberch and those type of players. Now, I've got a big bee in my bonnet over Ryan Gravenberch purely and simply because of his agent. And I think anyone
you're not a fan, are you?
No, not with Mino Raiola, because as soon as Mino Raiola gets a player into your club, Mino Raiola dictates your transfer policy. And and you're seeing it play out at Dortmund, you're seeing it playing out at Manchester United, anywhere. You're seeing it at Juventus with De Ligt. Anywhere that he's got his players, he dictates the club's transfer policies, and that is not a situation. No matter how good the player, no matter how much potential they have, you cannot have a situation where an agent dictates to a club when your players go and when they stay. It's not good. It's not a healthy position to be in. And I mean, every transfer window you're seeing it with Paul Pogba. Is this the one he's going to go? Is this the one he's going? Paul Pogba's going nowhere until the summer, and then Paul Pogba is going to get an absolute shed load of money and a signing on fee, and the agent is going to get a huge signing on fee for whatever club he goes to, and rinse and repeat. He'll do the same again.
Yeah, if you say, isn't there a thing coming with agents that they're going to limit?
That was
with two things. One, whether it'll come in as a massive. B, even if it does come in, what people are like, the way the world is, they always find ways of getting their money, and there'll be.
You look at the Man City sponsorship deals that were announced over the last 2 days.
Oh, I tried.
You scratch the surface on those transfer deals, and it's everything that the league tried to prevent Newcastle from doing. Man City have just gone and done it, and they're not even hiding it anymore because their attitude is pursue us. We'll just outspend you. That's what you're competing with, unfortunately.
Yeah, there is that. Right, it's 11:30. Me and you said we'll try and just do an hour tonight. One of these days we'll stick to an hour. It never happens. But
I want to try and get Phil Casey. Yeah, I want to try and get Phil Casey on to chat about the NFL once it gets into the postseason, because Phil's an absolute encyclopedia when it comes to the NFL.
Do you want me to write him a quiz on it?
Please don't. I want him to come back. But yeah, Phil is. He's an NFL nut.
Yeah, I do. I take the Mickey lad, but he knows his stuff on the NFL.
I think the NFL last week of the season is this weekend, and then we get into the postseason stuff, and that's when it gets interesting. Winter Olympics coming up soon. We've got Callum coming on
21st.
In a few weeks' time to talk about the UFC, the Ngannou fight. So by that time, the transfer window, we'll have. We'll just be a nice little valve for Callum to unload.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure I'll have ways of winding him off because it's quite easy, really.
But we've got some stuff coming up over the next few weeks. Really appreciate everyone in the chat, guys. Without you guys in there, it's just Gav would just sack us off. To be fair, so I'm glad you guys. I'm glad you guys are stuck.
Well, no, just me. You're right. He likes you.
He lets me win quizzes and everything.
See, exactly. You're his favourite. You're right. I've got to behave. The other thing we are going to start up, maybe try and do next week, was our go back to our legend and maverick thing. I know we did Shane Warne.
We did Shane Warne, yeah. So if you guys want to slap some name in the comments section after the show, who you guys might like us to do a bit of research in, chat about, who would you like to chat about? And we'll get onto that for next week's show.
Yeah, any sports apart from golf.
Yeah, apart from golf.
Your
name is Dave Lennon, and then we'll just chat about golf. I'm pretty sure there is a show on Sunday night. There probably will be a reaction show to the Shrewsbury game. I'd be surprised if there isn't. If you have your notifications on, I'm pretty sure there will be a post match of the Shrewsbury game.
And I'm at the match on Sunday, the women's game. We're away to Blackburn.
Oh, you're away to Blackburn. You're a bit nervous about that one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I hate Blackburn. The last 2 times we played, we battered them, and they've both finished 0-0. It's been, one of those bogey teams you're going, just everything but the barn door. It's been one of those teams. So, fingers crossed. I mean, the new striker coming in does actually make it a bit more interesting, because you want to see how the new striker does.
Yeah. One thing, did you watch any of the darts?
No, do you know what? I've missed most of it. I need to get into darts, really. I used to watch bits of it, but I saw lots of people getting excited about it, so I need to actually.
Yeah, I'm going to have to I mean, from what I've seen of it, it was a good fight. It was a good tournament. It's a shame it was Dario Gabriel, you're a man after my own heart.
Who's after your own heart?
Dario Gabriel, Duran, Leonard, Hagler, Hearns. Oh. Can you imagine the pay-per-view numbers that lot could do now? Although, do you know what? In this era of boxing, Dario, they'd have avoided each other like the plague. and they would have just stayed on their own until a super fight happened once in a blue moon. And that is what's killing me off with boxing. You know what I mean?
Aussie rules, when you do Aussie rules as well.
Absolutely nothing about it, John. Apart from it's a version of Gaelic football, but it's we actually do a thing over here every year, right? Where the best of the Gaelic footballers go and play the best of the Aussie rules in a mixed rules tournament, and it is absolute bedlam because all the Aussie rules lads are all they're all professional players and what have you. You got all the GA players are all amateurs, and some of the punch-ups over the years that have been at these games have been unreal. And that's definitely a cracker. Robbie, the fighters wouldn't have wanted to avoid them, definitely. But yeah, their managers and promoters would have stayed away. Katie Harrington is an exceptional talent. She's one of these boxers that I wish she'd have gone pro. I know she's staying for Paris, and she'll probably medal at Paris. But I would love it if she would have gone pro. She's got enough years in her that she could have probably not got in with Katie Taylor, but she could have taken on from Katie Taylor in the pro game. But look, she's staying amateur, so she'll be one for Paris for sure. Right, wrestling, Dave.
Oh yeah, we'll do some of that.
Callum's do some of that.
Do so. We'll get Callum on for that. He knows all that as well, so we'll have some fun. Right, come on. We said we're going to go.
Yeah, we better go.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Whack some names in the chat under the comment section would be great, and we'll have a look at them, and we will definitely get onto that over the next week.
Cool. Take care of yourself, everyone.
Thanks very much, guys. Good night.